Let's go ahead and move on. This is when we bring in Mr. Jesse Sprinkle of Blank Books. He's been waiting patiently all night long. He even called me today. Can you believe it? He called me, and we tested out his internet connection. It was a blast. So anyway, full disclosure, I've been listening to Jesse for a very, very long time, probably since I was about 15 years old. We're around the same age, but he had a lot better professional start in the music industry than I did. So he's a little bit ahead of me, but he's also been in some other cool bands. So one of the bands he was in was called Poor Old Lou. If you've ever listened to any Christian alternative music from back in the 90s, in that little subculture bubble, if you will, that was where I first heard this guy. So Jesse, this is the time. Go ahead, Rob, bring him in. Jesse, this is the time when I just have you. You just came out with a new band with your brother, Aaron Sprinkle, called Blank Books. We're going to listen to Breathing Underwater. But first, this is where I just kind of let you, for about 10, 20 seconds, give your elevator pitch about what this band's about and just briefly explain Breathing Underwater, and then we'll come back and we'll get deeper with Dave.
Mm-hmm.
What this band's about?
I mean, just like what the music's like and, what you're doing with it.
Well, the fun thing is I started my music career with my brother, so that's one of the things people are sentimentally psyched that we're doing an album together. But I think the music's good enough to where if people don't know who the hell we are, then they love it either way. So that's kind of what we're going for right now. But we've been talking about doing this Sprinkle Brothers thing for probably 15 years now.
Yep.
And we just did it. So there you go.
Nice. So we'll go ahead and listen to Breathing Underwater, and we'll be back and get deeper with Dave.
Of the summer heat, make your way to the sacred streets, far enough that you can't be reached in the height of the rolling sun. Curtains rise when you make it back, and your coat and your holy head. Put your feet up on the table's edge, like the child of a chosen man. I can see a light in your eyes, drowning in a dirty disguise. I can show you how you can breathe underwater with your beautiful heart on your sleeve. So you can get your story straight. Were you loved? Were you full of hate? Heavy-handed and abandoned heart. Were you whole?
Deeper with Dave. Deeper with Dave. Oh, yeah.
Sponsored by
A slightly serendipitous experience I had when I was watching this episode of Nashville, where the lead character, Sam Palladio, in real life, meets up with his brother, and they just start jamming on the guitar, and then they sing, and all of a sudden they're like harmonizing, and then there's this moment they look at each other like, wait, like we sound good together, man. We should maybe like form something. I mean, that's where I want to start, dude.
Yeah.
Go back to that moment, like when I don't know how old you were, teenagers, or that moment. It's like, you know what, dude? Start jamming together. It's like, dude, we should do something. Like, talk about that, man.
I didn't know what I had when I was a kid. I started playing gigs when I was 14. I'm playing in clubs that are in the movie Singles in Seattle. I'm talking
Oh,
Like,
nice.
we were
Okay,
in
cool.
rock clubs, and I was 14 years old. I didn't know what I was doing. So it took me years and years and years to realize that you can't get that chemistry with people very often. Like it's rare. So doing this album was like effortless. Like we didn't even have to think too much. You just send me a song and I'd be like, yep, that's good. Like,
Yeah, but you and your brother played in your old band together.
Mhm.
I'm curious about like the moment before you even like recorded your first album, like the moment when it's you guys were jamming together. It's like, you know what, dude, let's do a project together. Like
Well,
what?
I don't remember that.
He was like six.
Oh, man.
I was in junior high, like first year of high school. No, it was just one of those things. We just did music. I didn't have the dream like, hey, I want to do music for a career. I was already doing it. Like I was there. And my
Yeah, you
brother-
just like walked right into it at a young
Right,
age.
he was my
Okay.
older brother, so he was already doing it. So to me, it was just like I just kind of jumped into it, and there I was. Like,
All right, so I didn't get a chance to listen to Poor Old Lou, although I had a drink with him back in the late 70s and somewhere in Georgia. but what type of sound was Poor Old Lou? And maybe say a few words about that experience, because you guys had a good run with that band, I hear.
I would say I've never been able to say what it is. I would say we're more into like Brit rock, even though we came from Seattle, right in that time when grunge was happening.
Yeah, interesting, dude. I hear some of that in this new stuff. Interesting.
We had a little bit of grunge influence, but we loved like, you know, The Cure and Echo and the Bunnymen, and you know,
Nice.
even like college rock like REM and stuff like that. So it was kind of a mix of all that kind of stuff.
Okay, and then you took this massive break, like of what, like 15, 20 years. And now you guys have come back. You said you've been kind of talking about this for years. It's like, we got to do something again. And that's what this project is. That's what the Blank Books is. I think that's an awesome story, dude. So the sound here, I hear a little Death Cab for Cutie in here, man.
Yeah,
And it's with your brother's vocals, your brother Aaron's vocals. It's just the way he sings, man. Just like the way he projects, his tone and everything.
Yeah.
But it's a little harder, and it's got a touch of grunge. I heard that touch of grunge in there, man. So
went for the '90s thing for sure.
yeah, that's cool to hear. You were from Seattle. That makes sense now. Interesting.
It does. And
But-
we know Death Cab. I mean, my brother and his wife know the guys from Death Cab, but I can't.
Yeah, and
say
Postal Service, a lot of crossover members. Yeah.
anything. We don't do lunch together all the time.
Yeah, but I always try and like, I have this somewhat of an obsession with deconstructing the sound like to its roots. So what are some of the other influences, I guess? I mean, it is like the Seattle grunge era kind of where you started in terms of when you were writing music. Was that the biggest influence for you guys?
It's what was happening then, but honestly, like, there's one big band that we all loved was called the Posies, and they were from Seattle.
Yep.
They weren't a grunge band. They were more of like a college rock
Mm-hmm.
singer-songwriter style band. So it was, and I hear a lot of Matthew Sweet in my brother's vocals, which a lot of people.
Oh, okay.
There's a couple songs, if you listen to them, you'll hear Matthew Sweet. So it's got that like songwriter thing mixed with the grunge thing going on, or the '90s thing, whatever. Whatever.
All right, man. So, what is it? Just go with the flow right now, or are you guys like gonna just try and do this for 5-10 more years, or is it just play it by ear?
I don't know. He just sent me some songs, and I played drums on it, and there we are. So like,
It just keeps going.
I would love to do a full length though. Like, just this is like getting things going, you know, kind of a thing. But
You got a booking agent? You setting up tours and stuff, or?
the next discussion is playing live. We really need to do some shows, but both of us have been so busy in our respective like pockets of the industry that it'd be interesting to try to figure out how to get us. I can't even be in a room with him at the same time. No, I can't.
Wait,
Like
what's
being
is there?
around guy. Like, how are we going to do a tour together? No,
Is there a little story there? What is
No,
there?
there isn't.
Okay, all right.
but it's literally just getting like I have a recording studio that I'm in now, and I have 5 kids in my house. My brother's got a couple kids in Nashville, so trying to figure out how we do a tour
Oh, wow. Okay.
challenging. But I don't
Yeah.
mind going out for like a week or so. But like we're not going to be going out on the road like a regular band. So that's where our situation is a little different because we've got industry cred, but we're not going to be out there touring all the time. So what do you do?
That's the way to do it.
Has it even crossed your mind to just like bring all the families on the road and just make it like this big event? Is that even possible?
Like the Sprinkle Partridge Family?
Yeah, sure. I don't, man, that would be insane.
All the kids have talent.
All right, man. Well, anyway, so I was going to ask you where people can find you. Other than your website, are you guys like doing like social media and just are you just kind of still kind of formulating?
Yeah, both me and my brother have a lot of solo albums, and
Mm-hmm.
we kind of do that stuff as well. But yeah, find us on MySpace.com.
Blank Books. All right, guys, we're going to move on. It was a pleasure chatting with you, Jesse, man. Awesome sound, dude. I'm glad we hooked up with you, man.
Thank you, my friend.